Hello, this is Mark Smith with Family Tree Counseling Associates, and we're going to be talking about healing your inner child. And I know that might sound sort of corny. It gets made fun of in movies. It sounds a little bit like psychobabble, but I'm going to share an experience I had this week with you, and I can assure you that that experience was in no way psychobabble. It was really the most powerful therapeutic experience that I have ever had in my life. And I want to share it with you because it really impacted me more than anything else ever has. So the title of the video is Healing Your Inner Child, My Experience. So what I did was this past week, I was invited to participate in a week-long therapy group in Bowling Green, Kentucky that consisted of professionals in the field. And we were there to work on healing our inner child. And it was therapists and addiction workers from all around the country. And the Bridge to Recovery, they call themselves a transformational residential program which specializes in healing individuals by addressing the core causes of anxiety, depression, and compulsive behaviors. The result is emotional recovery and a renewed enthusiasm for life. So, really, at Family Tree Counseling Associates, people many times come to our office looking for marriage counseling, and we direct them to the real problem, which is their childhood, their unresolved issues from their childhood. People that come in for marriage counseling, they really don't have marriage problems. They have childhood problems, and that are disguising themselves as marital problems. So the director of the Bridge to Recovery, her name is Tara Holbrook, and she's a master's level licensed clinical social worker and a CADC addiction therapist. And she's been working in addictions and mental health since 1993, and she specializes in the field of sex, love, and relationship addiction. So I was down there with 9 other professionals and Tara and her staff in a cabin in the woods without a cell phone, without a laptop, and without a TV set. And a lot of time to think about childhood and think about the wounds that happened when you were little and vulnerable. So I'm going to go through my experience and just take it as you will. If it makes sense, great. But and I'm not trying to give a commercial for the Bridge to Recovery. I'm trying to give a commercial for healing your child within. And I want, whether you ever come to Family Tree or the Bridge to Recovery, I want you to know that this process is real and it's powerful. And there is a wounded little kid at the core of all of us, even you. So the first thing we did on Sunday morning was go down to the horse stables and do therapy with horses, which I'd never done. Didn't get to ride the horse. The assignment was we were to tell the horse to back up. And my particular horse didn't want any part of that. He wasn't going to back up for me, no matter how tough I sounded or how resolute my command. Uh, and this surprised me. I'm a pretty forceful guy. I'm a pretty confident guy, but the horse wasn't uh, reading my what I said. He was reading my body language, and the body language was, I don't know what I'm doing, and I hope this works, but I don't think it's going to. So the horse was like, "Screw you, pal, go away," which was a fun icebreaker with the other people in the group, and it built some trust and some relationship, and it was just unusual and cool. But it also did dig some stuff up in me around feeling powerlessness, around pursuing something and then feeling rejected. So the next thing we did was we told our stories. And I believe that the bridge to recovery, my guess is that they probably, like Family Tree, were influenced by a writer named Ann Wilson Schaaf. And her approach is the therapists share, and they're working on their own recovery. And everybody has addictions, and how you heal the inner child is you cry, and not only do you cry, you get angry. So so we told our stories, and everybody took 45 minutes, and you can say a lot in 45 minutes. And to have the attention of 10, 11 people as you're pouring out your heart, and you could tell that they were just really interested. So the room felt very safe, and you felt heard, you felt understood. After we did that, and I went down there uh, not super excited about going, but once I got down there, there was this energy in me that just wanted to get with it. So I actually went first when it came to a lot of these activities, because I was ready to rumble. I was ready to do some work on myself. My story is that I was abandoned really by both of my parents. Um, my dad was off in Vietnam, and he really wasn't present when he was there. And my mother kept having babies, had 7 children. I'm number 2. And during my little period of time to be the baby and be the focus of attention, she had gallbladder surgery, and I was sick, and we just never bonded. And that's a dangerous thing for a man, for a woman, for a child, to never bond with your mom, because that's sort of the foundation of mental health, unfortunately for me. So at my core was this voraciously needy little infant who was angry and sad. And I'd never been able to cleanse him out of there as much as I would have wanted. And he was showing up in relationships with women where I'd be attracted to somebody who wasn't available for whatever reason, and who feared being engulfed by the needy guy and distanced themselves, which brought up my abandonment issues. So that's what I was dealing with, and that's what I wanted to have addressed by this week of therapy. After everybody told their stories, the next day there was a visualization where Tara led us through various things. You just picture them in your head. And I actually had to be woken up twice. I think I was halfway between awake and asleep, but I was snoring. I think I snore when I'm awake, but maybe I was a little bit asleep. So it didn't seem like a very powerful experience for me if I'm nodding off and snoring. But it actually was very powerful, because I pictured me as a baby being handed to me, And when that baby was handed to me, it felt very nurturing. Like I could nurture myself. I could be the one who could nurture that wounded little kid on the inside. A woman can't do that. Another person can't do that. A therapist can't do that. Your mom and dad can't go back in time and do that. That period of time when you truly are a little child or an infant, that time is over. But you can, in essence, become your own parent, your own healer of your own issues, and that's what I felt, and it did bring up a lot of tears. I sobbed and cried all week long, sobbed and cried and sobbed and cried, powerful, because I could feel that infant at my core grieving. That may sound ridiculous, but I'm telling you, I felt it. And I'm not a guy who spends a week crying for nothing. I'm a pretty tough guy, and I'm a pretty rational guy, and I don't cry unless there's a reason to cry, and that just came from the very, very core of me. So the next piece of work we did was around anger, and I'm not going to go into depth about how that was expressed, but I'll just say this, that it was expressed in a very practical way that really got at the core of my anger in a way that had never been touched before. And I'm just so grateful to express some of that out, because that sort of was the issue when I was a little tiny baby. Was I was angry. You know, you heard a baby crying for milk, and then you heard a baby crying because they're throwing a fit and they're really angry. And those cries sound different. And I don't think that my mom had the capacity to deal with somebody, you know, who was as angry as I was. But also with the anger work, there was also quite a bit of grieving work that went with that. So not only did we grieve around the sadness and the abandonment, but also did some grieving around the anger. So I can't tell you how intense this work was. After one of the days where I've been through 3 days of crying and grieving, we went down for some yoga, and I was told that if all you got energy-wise is to lay on the mat, go lay on the mat. So I did, and I fell asleep, and I snored real loud, and I got tossed out of yoga class. But I just wasn't up to it. I was exhausted. So we did some grief work around writing a letter. I wrote a poem about ending addictive behavior that I'd been involved in, sort of stoking some addictive behavior of late. And I basically said goodbye to that addiction, which is sad because, again, that little kid inside is going to want to fill up that empty hole. And that's why many people become alcoholics. Mine isn't alcoholism. It's more along the lines of relationship addiction. But nonetheless, if you stop medicating yourself and stop getting high with whatever makes you high, it will bring up your pain and it will make you sad. And then we wrote a letter to our little kid on the inside, and we expressed some empathy and some tenderness and some kindness to that little guy who was abandoned and didn't get his needs met. We did an exercise where you used your non-dominant hand, in my case, your left hand, and using the non-dominant hand, sort of trying to give voice to that little kid. And I think that worked. It really did. I think there was a part of me that really was the deepest part, that little kid part, was, communicating and with, sort of like the grown up part of me. Very powerful stuff. On the final day, we did some aftercare planning, and Tara had put together some farewell prayers that were just beautiful and well thought out and aptly describing who we were, where we came from, and how we were wired and the work we still needed to do in just a sacred and a special and a beautiful way. So I do want to thank the Bridge to Recovery for their impact on me this past week, and Tara Holbrook for her kindness and her gentleness and her wisdom in certainly calling me on the carpet for several things related to this addiction, but to do so in a way that was respectful and kind to the little infant on the inside. And so I found that to be life-changing, and you guys be the judge over time if you notice a difference in who I am and what the message is, and as I share about my journey and my walk. So I just want to, again, encourage anybody who does have an addiction or some depression or issues with anxiety. If sort of traditional therapy isn't cutting it for you, then you might consider a couple weeks at the Bridge to Recovery, and you'll do some work that will change you. A lot of treatment today is so medical in nature. It's all about doping you up with various pills, and some people need to have their body chemistry tweaked, and that's okay. But many times what you need is a good long stretch of crying and just grieve through the damage that was done to you, and that's what you need more than anything. And also to express and to get that anger out of your system, so it's not bothering you the way and haunting you the way it previously did. So and also recommend, if you're local or even if you're far away, if you're having marital issues, trust me, your marital issues are rooted in that wounded little kid. And what we do at Family Tree is we shift your focus away from the marriage. In fact, in my letter to my little kid, I addressed him and said, "I'm sure you join me in thanking my former wife for her contributions and various other women I've been involved with who hurt me. But that's the purpose of marriage. The purpose of marriage, my friends, is to hurt you so that your walls could come down, so that that little kid can come out, so that you can take care of your business, so that you can heal, so that you can cry, so that you can be angry, so you can flush out the core of you, so you don't have to live with the residue of that damage for the rest of your life." And it's hard to uncover, and it might take a divorce or two or other painful relationship entanglements before you're broken enough to do the work that you need to do. But our approach really works as well, to where we get you thinking about your childhood, grieving about your childhood, and crying. Cry, cry, cry. Best therapy sessions I've ever had is I show up, take my shoes off, lay down on the couch, say about 6 words, cry for a straight hour, go through half a box of tissues, get a hug, write a check, and leave. That's a life-changing therapy session right there. And you have very many of those, and you're not going to be ruled by depression. You're not going to be ruled by addiction or compulsion. You're not going to be ruled by anxiety. You're going to live a pretty blessed, healthy, and interdependent life. So thanks for watching today, and let me tell my story about this profound experience that I had around inner child healing. If you haven't joined our YouTube channel, I encourage you to do that. I saw that we had gone up to 2,500 YouTube subscribers, and we're just so grateful to YouTube for putting our message out there to the world in a way that is changing so many lives. It's so much fun. Also, visit our website, familytreecounseling.com, and you can buy my books. I've got 6 books, one on abandonment issues called Managing Your Abandonment Issues Through Recovery. You can't heal them, but you can get a hold of them. You can manage them like diabetes if you understand your abandonment issues and that they're rooted in your family of origin stuff. Another book called Healing Toxic Shame Through Recovery, a book on counterdependency for men, a book on affair recovery, and a book on the basics of recovery, as well as a book on marital issues. All those books are available both on Amazon.com and through our website. So check that out. And just also know that I am still available via Skype. I'm not as available as I once was. I'm doing some traveling. I'm doing some writing. I'm doing some crying and some healing. But the staff is available via Skype and locally in the Indianapolis area. So thank you for watching today, and God bless.